Good day to you. We have uncertainty all around us. I think of the coronavirus and how it has made so many things uncertain. And now with riots that are happening or racism or anything like that, it has caused a lot of uncertainty in the world that we live in. Even with that, we all have uncertainties in our own life. I think of myself being 23 years old, being right out of college, and just being honest, being right out of college and being broke. There's all kinds of financial instabilities, things that I think of all the time that I'm uncertain of, like I should be saving for retirement, or I should be looking for a house, or you have car payments and life insurance and all of these new things that make me feel very uncertain. I worry about those things a lot, more than what I should probably. And for people that are older than me, I think of people that have kids and how uncertainties come with those. Am I raising my child the way I should? Are they the person that they should be? And all the uncertainties with that. And even grandkids, we have some people I know of some people that grandparents are raising grandkids, and then you have the whole cycle all over again. And we have relationships like friends, like some of my friends from high school I'm not friends with anymore, and how those were so certain then, but now they're not. And I think of family members, and then you throw in other things like sickness. You throw in cancer or dementia or any other health complications, and how things can be uncertain, and we can worry about those things. Worry to the point to where they overwhelm us. I think of the young lady who went to Lawrence County High School, who recently passed away. I'm sure her parents were very certain that they were going to see her graduate from high school, that they might see her graduate from college or get married. And yet, that's all gone now. My point is that in the grand scheme of things, the big picture, life can be uncertain. And even down to the smallest detail, there still is uncertainty. Something that I go to and that I read is Colossians chapter 1. So I thought we could go there and read that today. Colossians chapter 1, and we'll start in verse 15. And it's interesting, those feelings of worry or uncertainty, those are very natural feelings. God made us humans that fear sometimes, or doubt sometimes. So those feelings are natural. It's just when they overcome us when we get into trouble. But Colossians chapter 1, and starting in verse 15. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation. For by him all things were created, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or rulers or authorities. All things were created through him and for him. Verse 17. And he is before all things, and in him all things hold together. Let's look at verse 17 for a second. In him all things hold together. That's the ESV. The King James says, and he is before all things, and by him all things consist. And the Message Bible says, for everything, absolutely everything, above and below, visible and invisible, rank after rank of angels. Everything got started in him. and finds its purpose in Him. He was there before any of it came into existence and holds it all together right up to this moment. No matter what uncertainty comes along in life, and there are a lot of them, everything about this life is uncertain. No matter how uncertain it becomes, it all fits in Jesus' hands, in God's hand. I think of how sometimes I get up and I leave my house in the mornings and I think, man, I'm walking out into a chaotic world. But that whole chaotic world and sometimes my chaotic world still fits in the palm of His hand. And something big to me and something that makes me doubt is still so small to Him, and so controllable by Him. And then going on to verse 18, he says, "And He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in everything He might be preeminent. For in Him all the fullness of God was pleased to dwell." And listen to this verse 20. "And through Him to reconcile Himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of His cross." You know, Jesus could have said, you know what, I have the power to take this chaotic world and all this uncertainty and put it in my hand. And you can be sure in that. You can be sure that no matter what happens, I'm in control of it. And He could have stopped there. But He didn't. He wanted to make sure that we were sure that we had no uncertainties about the next life, about what happens after we die. Verse 20 again, "And through Him to reconcile Himself all things, whether on earth or in heaven, making peace by the blood of His cross." Even when I feel uncertain about finances or sickness or coronavirus or whatever, I can be certain that I can know where I'm going to go at the end of this life. And it's because of what He did, making peace by the blood of His cross. Jesus made it certain for us. He made this life certain, and He made the next life certain. So, if you are feeling uncertain about anything or doubts, I pray that you read these verses and that you find comfort in them. I have 2 challenges for you going into this week. Number 1, I want us to ask ourselves, what are we uncertain about? What gives us doubts? What do we worry about? What keeps us up at night? And once we realize what those are, I hope that we share that with the people that we're closest with. Morgan and I, we talk about everything. We share all of our uncertainties. And I'm glad that I have that person to go to and to talk to and to share that with. So if you're not sharing that, I hope that you do. My second challenge for us this week is to read verses 21 through 23, just 3 short verses. And it's the end of this passage. And it uses words that we don't use a lot, like alienated and reconciled and reproach and steadfast, words that I don't use in my everyday life. Probably should, but I don't. So I pray that you look at these verses and look at this passage as a whole and take something from it. I plan to do the same. That's my thought for today. I love you, and If you are uncertain about anything, I hope that you know that it doesn't have to be that way. That Jesus gives us certainty in this life and in the next. Thanks, and have a great day.